So now, this is something that I had no idea about. New college graduate plan, helping new grads on how to find a job, preparing for their interview, and retaining the job. So do we have anyone here in college? All right, we got quite a few. And anyone in their senior year or junior year? Yep. What year are you in? You're a junior? All right, good. So you should already be in that mindset of what your graduation plans are, how to make that work, what your summer plans are in terms of any resources to internships, externships, all that type of stuff. And again, the department is willing to help you, and however much you're involved, that will also help in the long term. Because once you genuinely feel the value, you'll also turn around and want to support that as well. And then identifying, creating a database of subject matter expert Qudam who can help others. Again, that if we update the directory and we choose to support it, it'll have a huge benefit. I mean, we're actually doing this right now. This is the seminar that we're doing in person. And mainly, my goal here is to just go over the stuff that the department is trying to do. And they're also trying to have one at the national echelon as well. And then, how many here are refugees? We have quite a few, actually. Wow. So Sanat al-Jada wants to expand the skills teaching initiative to refugees, Urdu-speaking Qudam, and will work with them to help them find jobs or work. So how many of you guys knew that there was this department and that they want to help refugees specifically with being able to get jobs and what type of resource skills? Were you aware of that? I mean, that's a failure on our end as well, but this department has been established since 1920. And this requires the support of everybody for it to really have that type of success. And then we also want that those Qudam who are unemployed or underemployed. And what does underemployed mean?
You're not working to your full potential.
Yeah, the full potential feeling is like, I just think of Azur looking at me like disappointed. Like, I know you're not living up to your potential. It's about Janda, it's about Salat, it's about everything. So I'm sure a lot of us are underemployed in that perspective in terms of working hard and being to our full potential. And if we ask for the help and we have someone to reflect on what our experience or what our skill set is, if they could help guide us as to what our real potential is, what our real future can be if we apply our skill sets appropriately. So that's the basic thing that I wanted to go over. So we have 2 workshops that we can go over. I'll really quickly go over a few. I don't want to cut into give us time too much. Actually, there's one last thing I want to go over, which I think is something of genuine value. Now, when we think of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, and we consider him to be our guide for everything, we even recommend that we should have a beard, just out of our love for the Holy Prophet ﷺ. What was his job, or what did he do for a living to earn money? He was a merchant. He was essentially a businessman. He worked for himself, right? We also know that he managed Khadija's business as well. So we can actually learn, genuinely speaking, how to even operate our business from his example. He's an example for us in every respect. It's not just a moral or spiritual thing, it's our actual lives in every reality. He was the individual who gave such a huge profit to Khadija that she ended up marrying him because she trusted him. And then he gave away all her money. And so that's an understanding of, if we want to be successful, honesty is one of the most important keys, right? To have true profit, trust is the key. The biggest thing that I've learned, I'm in healthcare. I own my own business. I own a few. They're not all doing too well. Just because I own a few doesn't mean that I'm doing well. But the one thing I've learned is to build a clientele, to build long-term success. It's about trust. It's about honesty. That's one of the biggest things we learn. And so when the Sanat al-Jada department is trying to encourage us to own our own businesses, it's also in a reflection of trying to be more like the Holy Prophet ﷺ. And when we have that intention, when we have that niyat in mind, that we want to be like the Holy Prophet ﷺ, and we want to have that trust in Allah Ta'ala, and we have that trust in Allah Ta'ala to be secure in our financial well-being, then all the prayers of the Durood Sharif that are happening at every moment of every single minute of every hour in all parts of the world, we will also be the recipients of that. And inshallah, our businesses will succeed as well. Now, there's 2 presentations. I'm going to just go, like I said, I'm going to go over them really quickly. But both of them can be available to anybody who wants them. I'll send them out to the Qaideen as well. But anyone that's interested, please, this has been formatted, it's been created, and we can support you in that as well. So resume formatting. Does anyone know about resume formatting? Yeah? So what are the different types of formats?
Usually the best one is the one-pager, so
Okay.
they know right away from the get-go what your information is. And it's usually you should list relevant job or experience at the top of the list.
Okay.
So that way they know what to go, and then from that it's like least important.
Okay. So I think so. There's two here that are mentioned. One is, well, actually three. There's one is chronological resume, which would basically mean that you're going through in your cycle of time, and that's really the classic form. So it'll mention all your skills. It'll mention all the different job experience you had, similar to how you were explaining things. And there's also functional. Functional, they say, is more so for those. It's actually they're saying the exact opposite of the chronological format, and its purpose is more so to highlight your skills. And it's for a lot of people that have gaps in their resumes, like time periods, whatever something might be going on in their life, whatever it might be. And it's more, it highlights more of your skill set instead of going through that. I've had this much experience and that much experience. And then you can also do a hybrid format. So it shows you here what type of different formats are in existence and how to make it work. I didn't know that. Honestly, I might have done a couple of resumes in high school. Right after I graduated from college, I started working with my dad, and then expanded that appropriately. But if I have a good chance that I was going to do a much worse resume if I didn't have the support of the job department. So I think all of us here, at the very least, if you have a resume, well, shoot it over to me, and I can find some experts who've done a good job figuring that out. Because when you think about someone who's receiving resumes, they might be receiving 1,000. How are they going to see yours? What's gonna stand out? And there's people that are going through that process who know, and we should use that expertise appropriately.
I want to guess 140.
The other one is also most common interview questions. Evan, let me ask you a question. Is it okay? So the first question is, what can you tell me about yourself? How would you answer that if I was interviewing for a job? You can talk about it. No, so does anyone want to answer the question? Yeah, go ahead.
What are you saying?
So the question is, what can you tell me about yourself?
About myself, my qualifications, what I'm interested in.
Yeah, no, so I think one of the most important things when we think about these interviews is we probably go in blind. I've done a couple of these, I remember like in college, sales jobs and stuff like that. But we should really be prepared. When you know what you're going to be saying about yourself and what's going to highlight you appropriately. I mean, the question that's really tough is, what weaknesses do you have? Our instinct is like, how badly do we really think about ourselves? But if we are those who properly are reflecting on ourselves, and we can actually make that question incredibly valuable. If you answer that question correctly, the interviewer is automatically going to have you on the top of their list, because they recognize that you are someone who knows where your strengths are, where your weaknesses are, and how to make yourself better for it. And then why should I consider hiring you? I mean, you're like, my answer would be, that's your job. You should figure out why you want to hire me or not. But if you actually consider, and then all the answers and the guidelines are in this presentation. And I'd be happy to share it for everybody. Any questions? Yes.
Oh yeah. No, it's not.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll send it out to Guide Jobs, and then I'll ask them to post it in each of the groups. I'll send both of them out today. Anything else? So just a few quick things. This department was established by the Muslim Ummah. It has a genuine purpose. And we should consider ourselves in any department, any sphere of the Jamaat. This is, I was a member of Shura a few years ago, and Mehdi Saab spoke about how this is going to be the consultative body for governments, and we should start thinking like that. So the Sunnah Job department isn't just about, someone doesn't have a job and can we help them. It's really about taking over the world, right? It's really about how we can be the change for everybody. There's people out there that are genuinely suffering. And if we can be their support, so first we have to help each other be financially secure so we can spend our time in service of Jamaat and Allah Ta'ala. And then again, I believe, genuinely speaking, that if we consider the hadith of Bukhari of Innamal A'malu Binniyat, that deeds are judged by motives, then we'll have that recognition that if our intention is to be financially secure for Allah Ta'ala so we can serve, our intention is to be more like the Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and be your own boss and appropriately dedicate your time to what you would like to, then Allah Ta'ala will bless it appropriately. So hopefully, inshallah, we can be more involved in this department. We should go to the website, see what's going on, and get onto the directory and add our information in there appropriately. And again, please, my name is Safin Khalid. you guys are welcome to meet me at any point in time. Take down my cell phone number, and we can make it work. Good luck.
Nice to meet you. My name is Mariah. How are you doing today?
How you go? You're gonna fill up here and here, and then if there's any space we can go. Alright, let's have everyone. So like that corner first, and then here. So let's fill up this corner. Oh, we start from the right. Fill up that corner first. Yeah, let's make use of every chair. This is the left. Let's just shift. Let's just shift. Still have some empty chairs, guys. Come on. Let it go. We still have like 1, 2, 3 chairs, so 3 volunteers. So let's fill those up. Just wanted to be really packed. Yeah, there's one more there. There's one more here. Well, there's one here. Go to the back or. Alright. Okay. Nice. Good luck. So. Good luck, still have like 3 in the back there, 4, 5, 6. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So we don't need that row. So 4 of you can just shift and fill those empty spaces. So I have less. I just want to focus on one group then. At the back there's like. Excellent. All right, so Jazakallah for that presentation. Very informative. And sometimes it's really true that we have so many resources. And even though, don't worry, I don't have to teach you with all of those. I'm good at my trade. I already have enough on my plate. But it's something that I'm sure a lot of our youngsters, would learn a lot from. From those very important resources, students, and just sometimes just having conversation helps a lot. You have people who are dedicating their time just to kind of help and serve you. And sometimes it's when you think of lives of prophets, for example, all prophets, when Allah Almighty sends them to the world and kind of just tells them to. They're human beings, grow up with the people, they probably have whatever it is they want to be, and they have their dreams, and then it must be hard when Allah just tells them to sacrifice everything, just give up everything, and now whatever you go through, you stick with this, and this is your trade, this is your life, this is everything you have to do. But it's like we have about 2, 3 meetings going on. Is that like a presentation on a phone there somewhere? I thought you were probably watching a live stream of me speaking. Yeah. I'm right here. If you can't hear me, I can be loud. So sometimes just at a smaller scale, you just have to, that's why I don't like to tell this in the Quran that prophets are, they're examples for us. And despite all the other things that we're doing in our lives, and focusing on the theme of this Ijtima, which is of Salat. If you really, really think about it, and it's an individual effort that we all have to make. You know, I don't have the right or the responsibility to come around and ask someone, you know, did you read Fajr today, or you know, even tell them off or anything like that. It's an exercise that we all have to go through, and it's something that Allah Ta'ala just gives us an instruction, and He gives us free will to say whatever, do whatever you want, but in the end, I'll ask you, you know, I'll question you, and it's between you and me. This is not between you and your guide or your imam or your huzur. Or at the end of the day, I will give you, you know, at the end of the day, your exam and your exam sheet, you know, to say how much have you put in, and you'll get a reward for that. There is no cheating. There is no, you know, deceiving. There is no, oh, I prayed 3 times, but you recorded twice. There's nothing like that. It's every day of our lives, it keeps piling up. And you've either done it properly or you've not done it properly. Right? And coming back to this thing that Allah tells us that, you know, you have to do it 5 times every day. All circumstances. As long as you're conscious, you have to do it 5 times a day. There's no way around it. Right? Especially as a man trying to do it in congregation. And if you cannot do it in congregation, you can do it on your own. But there's no excuse, right? So a question that I like to put out there, and for all of us to really share, you know, our worries, our concerns, just give feedback. What makes it so easy for you if you're regular in your salah? What makes it so difficult for you, right? What are the young ones who like to hear you? You know, what is it that, because most of your sessions we talk about, you know, how many Qudama are involved in drinking, have ever drank in their lives, dating. So it's so much of the negative that's going on, but what are we doing to counter that? You know, what are we really doing to counter that? If we don't do something like Salah, it's just a matter of time before you get into the girls and the, you know, it's just a matter of time. There is no other way around it, right? As long as our Salah is not proper, we're exposing ourselves to every other vice that's out there, every other wrong that's out there, every other evil that's out there, right? Because Allah tells us with Salah, we can fix those things, right? So if we are not offering the 5 daily prayers, what are some of the honest, you know, and it doesn't have to be about you, it could be about what you heard. And an easy way of doing is saying, just my friend said he doesn't do Salah because of this, right? You don't have to say I, you say I don't do Salah. Just use your friend, right? Or I heard someone say this. So let's hear it. What are some of the challenges, the real challenges you're facing, which is why Salah is an issue among
I would say probably do like something like even though like a lot of people only like 10 minutes, 10 minutes. I know that whereas like if you're like really short on the assignment, just do it like 11 be somewhere else. That's a good
Okay, sounds good. Yes.
Barely can hear him.
Yeah, I
You
can
can barely hear him? Can you stand up and say that? Like, your mic is off. I'll show you that you can do it.
So I was saying that one of the challenges that happens like, probably amongst college students is that if you have an assignment that's due at let's say 11:59, even stopping for just 10 minutes to do read namaz would be really challenging. Shift your focus completely from your education to namaz and then back to your education and college time. I think that's one of the biggest challenges when it comes to young people like reading namaz.
To have a break, to like have that discipline to say, you know, I need to stop everything, go and pray, and then come back and pick up on that same momentum, or maybe you're in that zone, you don't want to break it. All right? Anyone else?
To piggyback on that, support I think is the same sort of concept that I know. I spent a few summers in Rabwa, and it was from the masjid was right behind the house. You ended up going there. That's what everybody was doing. You had that support, like everyone here just reads Namaz. So I think just being alone a little bit in this society, not always having that. I know when with like my dad, and he's on top of it. If you hear someone who just tell me what to do, you know, when I do it on my own, that personal connection with Allah where I can genuinely feel the value of Salah, I'm just not there yet.
Okay. Anyone else? Yes.
I think most of us are students, so we go to college and we feel like some places are not appropriate to pray. So that's the reason we don't pray. When I have a class from like 12 to 5, so I have no time to pray. Between that, I have like 10 to 15 minutes each after every 2 hours. But I can somehow manage to pray that time. But sometimes I feel like, oh, everyone looking at me, and I feel like not praying.
Real, yeah. So even if you want to do it, you don't want to be seen as it's getting awkward. It's okay. Sounds good.
And even at work, you can pray, and if you have a break, instead of using your phone, watching memes, you can go and pray for a while. This can help you calm down. It's kind of like relaxing
Right.
to get back to work.
Okay. Well, sounds good. Any other? Yes. Now we're opening up more. Mashallah.
So I think one thing is like the stamina, like it's like something when the summertime when the days get long, right? So Fajr is like way early and then Isha is like way towards the end of the day.
Right.
And then we have 8-hour shifts in the United States. Typically, we have longer ones, 12 hours, right? So then 5, you could really manage and everything, during your breaks, combined prayers and everything. But just, suppose you wake up in the morning for Fajr, right? Now there's no time to rest in the afternoon because you're at work. You can't go to sleep at work. Right? And then when it's Isha time, either you're going to miss Isha or you're going to miss Fajr, or potentially,
Right.
So it's challenging.
So the length of the day also affects our commitment to Salah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good. Any other?
That's all I want to know what's preferred for you.
Yes. Good.
I have my friend has a problem with timeliness when it comes to slot, so oftentimes it happens it's like 1 p.m. and it's overtime, almost overtime. But then you're like, technically I could wait till Asr and just combine the prayers then and keep doing what I'm doing. So that's a big issue, timeliness and having that discipline, as you said, to just stop and read prayer on the correct time.
Any other? Yes.
That's from work perspective. The work schedules are not around Salat time. So you're pushing it, you become lazy. You have work, you're in store, you're in office, you're meeting, whatever. By the end of the day, the time is 3 or 4 o'clock. You see the door, you're okay, you answer together. That's how you get lazy. The more
Yes, sir.
Picking back on the work life, if you don't let your company know ahead of time that you need time off or you split your break off for prayer purposes, and you're very working at that company, it becomes really awkward having that conversation like a year or two in to say, I need time, even if it's 10 minutes, to go pray. And just having that conversation, well, what about before when you join companies and somebody comes up? So that becomes a little awkward having that conversation. And especially in Jummah, you let them know ahead of time, and then you realize you really want to start going to Jummah, having that conversation sometimes gets awkward.
Right. True. Yes.
A lot of times I have difficulty remembering that the source of all my success is going to be on Allah. So sometimes again it's like, oh, I think that it's me, I have to work harder, or it's going to be a client. Always just forgetting where the source of all blessings and success is, having to remind myself constantly. And I think because I'm prioritizing something else, and I think that my success is going to be on my effort, that confuses me at times.
So do we think because so now work or school, we have kind of, even if you don't say it, practically we've kind of accepted that work is enough of an excuse for you not to work, practically speaking. Or school is enough of an excuse for us not to go to Jummah or not to even pray. I'm not saying we believe that personally, but our practical life is saying that. So when you speak to a Khadim or why haven't you prayed, or haven't seen your Jummah, or when I was at school, they expect you to just be quiet when they say that. Oh yeah, I was at school, of course I didn't pray. Or of course I never pray so all the time because I'm always at work. So are we saying that practically we've kind of given in to our work, and the verse that he read today just kind of just puts all of that aside, that there will always be people that tijarat, that their trade or their business or their work doesn't deviate them away from the remembrance of Allah and from Salah. So are we all saying our practical life is such that the verse that he opened his presentation with is that those people who call themselves believers, their work or their trade does not take them away from the remembrance of Allah and from Salah. But we are saying that it does take us away from it. So is that the fair analysis? And if you disagree, you can put your hand up and say 1,400 years ago they didn't really have jobs. And today we have 8-hour shifts. I mean, if you agree or disagree, you can just make your point. Well, what does this verse of the Quran have to do with our practical life today in America, 21st century? If you're a medical student, if you're a doctor, if you're a businessman, whatever. How would you analyze that? Yeah, 3 hands up. Of course, there should be more hands up. Come on, everyone is involved in this. So how do you analyze it in your own situation? There shouldn't just be 4 hands up. 5, 6. Now this is a challenge now. If I was to open that verse today, how does it apply to your practical life? Where do you put yourself? 5 hands? Seriously? 6, 7, 8, 9. If your hand's not up, all I have to do is call you out. I just ask you, why is your hand not up? For example, guys, what does that mean? Okay. Anyone else who wants to share? Volunteer? Yes, please. One by.
So, when you were mentioning that, I just started thinking about our actions speak louder than words. So, when you look at, when Allah looks at our book and, like, as we look at ourselves through the course of our life, it's not what we were thinking at that time, or, that's kind of, our actions are what it speaks for us as we do in the book. So if we're saying, yes, Salat is our priority, but then we're, not doing Salat at the right times, by actions, that makes sense, that we are choosing something that is more of a priority than Salat.
That's a deep point. That's a deep point. Yes.
So I'm a high school student, I'm a junior right now, so I think one of the problems that you mentioned it, Friday prayers is a challenge for high school students, or they think it's a challenge at least because they have school and school will help them out. But personally, I've been going to Jummah for a while now, so I think that to all the students, it's really not an issue. You can center your, especially in college, you can center your schedule around Jummah. But for high schoolers, you can just send in a letter and tell them that I have a religious obligation, and they'll let you out. So I mean, there's really no reason not to go to Jummah.
So again, coming back to resources and having knowledge of certain things, what you just shared, like they cannot deny you the right to go for Friday and pray. If you want to, you will do it, right? I know some parents who tell their kids, there's no question about it. Jummah, you're in high school, middle school, whatever, you have to come. And they give that letter in, they have permission, right? Yes.
I have a question. So suppose you go for a job interview, right?
Right.
I mean, I know technically equal employment opportunity. You can't discriminate with any religion.
Right.
But if you say that I want a Friday, but is it possible for me to get Fridays off? Right.
Yeah.
So that signals that that you're a Muslim, right? So what if that doesn't work in your favor, that you don't get the job?
That's a decision you have to make. Because Allah says in the Holy Quran, Surah Jummah, He makes it very, very clear. It's a commandment. So when it's time, day of Jummah comes, leave everything and go and pray. And in the end of the surah, He says, because I am the best of providers. So you're like saying, no, you're not. I'll provide for myself. I'll take this job. So again, practically speaking, we can make all those arguments and say, oh no, like this is different. But he is saying, leave everything, go for Jummah, I got you.
Okay, so bring it up in the interview that hey,
I would say bring it out, but let's see what others think about it.
I just wanted to talk a little bit about what the brother just mentioned. So in my own personal experience, right, you're going to lose some jobs because you're saying that I'm not available Friday. I personally have lost a lot of jobs just because I'm not available at Jummah times. But what I've found in my personal experience that every single time, maybe a week later, 2 weeks later, Allah blessed me with a better contract, a better position. So there's a deeper aspect to that. if we believe truly that rizq comes from Allah Ta'ala, then we should have no fear in letting them know. Furthermore, if they have something against Muslims, I personally don't want to work with you in the first place. If you have a problem with me being Muslim, why would I want to be a part of that company? Why would I want to share my hard work and efforts with someone that's biased like that, right? So just be rest assured that try it in your own experience. That you tell them straight up, I'm a Muslim, I need Fridays off. Matter of fact, legally, even your 5 daily prayers, they cannot stop you legally from praying your 5 daily prayers. It's against the law. So I've been in situations where I could have sued the companies, I didn't just because, the mercy aspect of Allah. But once they know that legally this is your right, they cannot stop you. So you'll find in your own experience, I found in my own experience that every single time I turned down a job or a contract because I'm Muslim, because they don't want to give me my prayer rights, Allah Ta'ala is without fail always provided in a better way. Inshallah, you can find that out also.
Anyone who has not made a comment yet? Okay, everybody.
Just briefly on that point, I agree mostly, although in my perspective, I think the timing would be better after the job is offered. So after the job is offered, at that point, that's the negotiation stage. You're gonna get lunch breaks anyway. At that time, you talk, I'd like to have these breaks. And then they say no, which is harder for them to say no at that point anyway. Then you can reject the job if it makes more sense.
You got the job offer and then?
Yes, after they offer you the job, then you come back and talk about details. And at that point, you can say, I want a longer lunch break or whatever on Friday.
Legally, then you're covered, right?
Then you're covered.
I think there's like a something that says that you should miss 3 consecutive months. So like even if you can't do all of it,
Make sure you always like. I don't like saying that it's very loudly, man. Right. Yeah. So I want to put a question out there to you because we all do it sometimes. When you go to an airport sometimes, you see someone short pants, have a beard, dressed like having their kufi on, they have their janamas and their brain. What honestly comes to your mind?
hope he's not on my flight.
Right? But now let me challenge you. Let me challenge you now. What's the difference between you and that person? Is that person really an extremist? Or is that person really trying to, from the bottom of his heart, trying to offer his salat? And not be like you, who's most probably going to miss your salat, or you're going to sit in that flight and just do, Like, ask yourself, honestly, why does that person have that confidence? I'm not saying everyone should do it, but if you just think about it, like, you would most probably not do that. That's why you're laughing at that person, right? You would most probably not do it, but what's the real, from the bottom of your heart? It's the difference between you and that person. Why does that person have the courage to address that? Like, I ask myself that. Why does the person have the courage to travel with a janamad and not care whatever anyone said? And really follow the hadith of Rasulullah saying that the difference between me and all prophets is that Allah has made the whole earth as a masjid for me. Except for the rest of you. And that person keeping that in mind and saying, you know what, I'll do this, I don't care what whoever says. They go to the restroom, they do their wudu properly, you see them washing their feet, and then they come to a place they think, okay, this is okay, and they pray, they have that, satisfaction of heart. And you're there probably on Instagram and you're full waiting for your flight, you're laughing at him. But really, what do you think about that? What's the difference between that person and your friend who wouldn't pray? Well, now it gets real, right? Yeah, what do you think?
At the end, when you die, you're saying for Allah. It's not the people that are staying at the airport, telling you to read your namaz. It's Allah Mia. So at the end of the day, you should value your relationship with God higher than whoever's staring at you in the airport.
No, I'm saying, it depends which airport now. I was in Islamabad airport in Pakistan, right? And over there they had a masjid place, and everybody's doing it, I didn't do Bahman, but they do Bahman and that's it, If I was at JFK airport.
Well, we could be a bit technical. So when Rasulullah was commanded, were, during the Battle of Khandaq, when the arrows were coming in, when the enemy was right there, and he was in Salah, right, with the companions, and the others were getting killed. Like, this was in the middle of battle. And he was like, yo, this is important, let's pray. And others would come and pray, and then pick their swords up and run into the battlefield. Others would come back. Like, they were losing army, like serious numbers. And Allah told them, like, you need one of them pray, or in front and go back. So that's how serious it was with Rasulullah. And the airport, like, seriously. It's going to be really, like, critical and push ourselves to see where we really stand. Is that person really an experience?
Find out by the end of the flight.
Yes. So yeah, that's an important point. That's another perspective I wanted to get as well.
We couldn't hear what he was saying. He couldn't repeat this.
Pretty much every major airport is going to have a separate prayer room where you can go there and you can bring your Janmas with you and have a quiet moment and really concentrate on the prayer too. You don't have to be flashy about it. You don't have to be in the middle of everything. And while being in that room alone, you can really concentrate on the prayer itself. So at least part of that is a little bit of attention grabbing.
Okay, yeah.
It's similar to what he's doing. I've actually done both. Not at necessarily airports, but in big public areas. I carried the Janmas, I tried that. I've also done the seated position. What I realized for me was whatever was better for my concentration. So when I ended up standing and praying, most of my prayer, rather than focusing on the prayer, I was thinking about whatever everyone else was thinking. It was distracting me, even though I didn't care. I did it. It would still come up in my mind where it was affecting the concentration of my prayer, which is why then I started seated, and then I don't care at all, and I'm focused in my prayer. So as far as him and the other person being an extremist, absolutely not. I almost think that we're not living up to our standards because we're not comfortable with our own faith in front of other individuals. But when it comes to that concentration aspect, then I'm always left at what's the right answer in that case.
And it reminds me of Khalifa. You guys know that Khalifa Rabi actually did this. Rahimahullah. Does anyone know about it? That famous incident?
New Year's?
The New Year's, you want to share that?
From my understanding of memory, he happened to be in London, outside, in a big city, I guess he's in London, at the strike of midnight. And everybody is, doing the celebrations and everything. And he put out a newspaper, because that's all he had at the time, to do nothing. And as he's doing it, he hears somebody crying in the background. And after he finishes his prayer, Hazur went to that person to see, are you okay? And the person was just overwhelmed that, look at all these people, they're wasting their life away, and you are the only person remembering God.
So this was when Hazur was in London. He was a student at that time. And he shared this, was at a train station, and it was like so busy in London, and it was midnight, everyone was drinking, partying, and he happened to be, he said the only thing that came to mind, grab a couple of newspapers in the open, put them out there, and started, and he was a student at that time, right? But like most of you guys, right? So he shared that, and he was sharing it, was a bit emotional as well while he was sharing it. So this is, sometimes the concerns that, Allah puts in the hearts of certain individuals, genuinely praying for what they saw at that time. So my point is, sometimes we get very judgmental. We just see that person and we just, oh man, it's just creating drama. It's always not that. Maybe I am not that confident. If this person has that confidence and they think they're doing it genuinely by worshiping, alhamdulillah, I wish I had that courage. But of course, if there's a play place to pray and you feel more comfortable and concentrate, of course we should come around to that place. But just to sometimes, put our, straighten our thoughts sometimes. It's not always the conclusions that we make. It's more of, these things should be reminders for us, in most cases. You see that sometimes we go to events and you see someone putting in so many hours in the kitchen. Sometimes I'll just go to the kitchen and I'll see someone day and night, they're standing in their feet are sweating. And then that whole day they didn't pray. Because they're so focused on that, I have to serve the guests. You're pretty much wasting your time for it. We're preparing for competitions and the equipment needs to be safe here. Everyone is just doing salat, I need to make sure. And then you don't pray. You just miss it. Our security and, to be honest, we're just wasting our time. We're not really doing what we think we're doing. So duties and participation and all of these things are very, very, very important. Alhamdulillah, that's why we're here. But, just to conclude, you come to a place like this, it's been inaugurated by Khalid ibn Rasid. We're all here reminding one another, as someone said, in the beginning, sometimes, about his father, just being with him. We just need to remind, or being with a friend. Sometimes the company that we keep, right? If I'm with one or two brothers at a certain point in time, it's easier for us to pray. We're brothers together in faith. So being around the right people, hanging around with the right people, not being around. You choose to be around people where, when it's time to pray, you'll be uncomfortable anyway. You've created that situation, right? So for our youngsters, you're out there in high school, first year in college, you want to look cool, you want to be with the cool people and whatnot. You hang around with the wrong people, most often than not, it'll be awkward for you to pray, whether you like it or not. And as our brother here mentioned, you start being, comfortable with that. You're at work, Zuhr Namaz is gone, I'll combine it with Asr. You hit traffic on the way, by the time you're home it's Maghrib. Then you're like, oh man, let me just do Maghrib, I'll do Zuhr, Asr later. You don't end up doing it. And the day goes by, right? So these reminders for ourselves and amongst ourselves, with friends, with brothers, as you hear, let's continue having these conversations. Really sure I'm going to make that. Any other last thoughts before we? Just one last question. How many of you here know the Namaz Janazah? Put your hand right up there. If you know it, if you don't, it's fine. I'm the only one that can. So don't look back to see who's hands up. If you're at the back, you're lucky. You can see. So how many of you know Namaz Janazah? Full. Okay, it's okay. So it's something that an elder, of mine kind of told me once, that just put it out there because you'd be surprised with the number of people there. And it's like 6 people. And the first time we did it, it was about 5 people. That was locally Iman. This is regional. So, it's not difficult at all. The first Allah Akbar, you say Surah Fatiha. I'm sure we all know Surah Fatiha. If you don't, I'm really concerned. Surah Fatiha. Huh? No, you do Allah Akbar, you do Surah Fatiha. Surah Fatiha. And then the second one, what do you read? The third one is a challenge. That's why we had 4 hands down. And then the third one, that's when you do Dua Janazah, right? And you can find it anywhere. If you don't, you can take a quick screenshot and you can all share it. Learn it on your way home or the next couple of days, just learn it.
How long is it?
Not long. Does anyone wants to say it out loud? Yeah? No, yeah. The dua.
اللهم اغفر لحينا وميتنا وشاهدنا وغائبنا وصغيرنا وكبيرنا ونذكرنا وانثانا اللهم من احييته منا فاحيه على الاسلام ومن توفيته منا فتوفه على الايمان اللهم لا تحسن اجره ولا تحسن
So it's not too long. It's almost the length of Surah Fatiha, or maybe a little shorter than that. So we can all learn it. This is just a question I wanted to put up. Any other last Comments or announcements?
So, growing up, we never learned this in higher school, or any classes I took in the Jamaat. It was never taught to us. I think that's why 99% of us don't know it. Maybe we should add this to our curriculum if it's of that much significance. We should.
So now we're going to have sports. We're going to start off with basketball and volleyball. They're both going to be done in the front parking lot. We'll split up by Jamaats and different teams. We'll also be having a ping pong tournament later and tug of war. If you want to be in the ping pong tournament, come find me individually. I'll write your name down and then I'll answer your bracket. Other than that, you guys can go ahead, get a drink of water, change, and then I'll see you guys in the tournament.
Quick question. So it might be raining. I think it already started drizzling a little bit.
Yes.
Are we going to take care of outdoor first and then come inside?
We're gonna originally start with out there. I asked for all of you guys to head out that way. We're gonna try to squeeze in and get